Welcome to my channel MS Old Coins, a world where history, mystery, and treasure hunting passion collide, where greatness is not found by chance, but discovered by those who truly believe in rare wonders waiting to shine. Today, we step into that world together, ready to uncover greatness. Now let's lift the curtain, because in front of us stands one single coin, not many. One powerful 1972 Australia 2-cent Queen Elizabeth II coin, and its journey is nothing short of remarkable. This tiny bronze piece carries a royal legacy, a heritage of Australia's currency evolution, and the undeniable charm of a coin that has survived half a century and still speaks with pride. Minted in 1972, during the early era of decimal currency, this coin wasn't just created for spending. It was crafted to represent a nation's identity, heritage, and elegance under the reign of Queen Elizabeth II. At that time, Australia had fully embraced decimal coinage, moving away from the old system and stepping boldly into modern currency. And in that transformation, the 2-cent coin emerged, humble in size, rich in meaning, symbolizing progress and national unity. Designed with the iconic frilled neck lizard, this coin reflects Australian wildlife, culture, and creativity at its finest. Every curve of the design, every edge of this little treasure tells a story of craftsmanship and pride. But why is the 1972 edition so incredibly special? Because coins from this year didn't just represent value. They represented history in motion, a year when the mintage was limited and collectors didn't yet realize they should hold on to them. The world moved fast, and only the wise kept theirs safe. Today, collectors across continents admire this coin because they understand one truth. Rare coins don't just hold metal, they hold time. And time is priceless. People who desire unique relics of the past search tirelessly for coins like this. Enthusiasts, numismatists, investors, royal collectors. They all know that owning this single 1972 2-cent piece means owning a chapter of Australian monetary history. As the years pass, coins like this do not simply exist, they rise. They rise in admiration, they rise in respect, and yes, they rise in value. Because scarcity plus history equals desire, and desire drives greatness. So how valuable can this coin be? In the hands of the right collector, preserved with pride, its value can climb into serious collector territory. Exceptional quality specimens have reached highs in the hundreds, and special grade pieces can inspire collectors to pay beyond $1,000 when rarity, condition, and demand align. That's the magic of true collectibles. There is no ceiling when passion enters the room. Imagine holding something so small, yet so powerful. A coin born half a century ago, still glowing with potential today. That's not just currency, that's legacy. And the future? Oh, it shines bright. As time goes forward, collectors look backward for beauty, and this single coin, yes, this one, stands ready to reward those who believe in its worth. Protect it, cherish it, keep it safe, because treasure is not always buried. Sometimes it's already in your hands, waiting for the moment the world recognizes it. Every collector begins with a decision. Every legacy begins with one step. And your step begins today, holding a coin worth remembering, worth treasuring, worth dreaming for. If greatness had a shape, it would be round. If history had a heartbeat, it would echo through bronze. And if one coin could change a collection forever, this 1972 Australia 2-cent Elizabeth II masterpiece is the one. The world's rarest treasures don't scream. They whisper. And the ones who listen rise. Next, the 1973 2-cent coin from Australia. Officially the 2 cents, 1973. Australia is genuinely a coin with value and numismatic potential. And if you're watching this, you'll get an informed picture of its history, its current worth, and the generous upside it carries for the future. In 1973, the Australian decimal 2-cent coin was struck by the Royal Australian Mint using bronze, 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, and 0.5% tin, and featuring on the obverse the bust of Queen Elizabeth II, and on the reverse a frill-necked lizard Chlamydosaurus kingii, designed by Stuart Devlin. According to documentation, the mintage for the 1973 circulating 2-cent coin was approximately 94,057,500 pieces. Given such a high number, these coins are by no means ultra-rare, but that very fact doesn't eliminate the value for collectors, particularly those in superb grade or with unique errors. From history, Australia introduced the 2-cent coin as part of decimalisation on February 14, 1966. The design remained unchanged, reverse featuring the frill-necked lizard, for all years of issue. The 2-cent coin was withdrawn from general circulation beginning in February 1992. Let's talk current market values. For a typical 1973 2-cent in decent circulated condition, the value is modest. The catalog shows that grade MS 60 to MS 63 might sell for around $3.40 to $4.20. For better uncirculated coins, MS 65, around $23. For higher uncirculated states, MS 66 to MS 67, the guide lists around $25 to $30. That gives you a realistic baseline of what one might expect in a market now. But, and this is important, there are scenarios where the value can amplify significantly. For example, coins with exceptional condition, pristine mint state with full luster, no wear proof-like, or coins with error or variety attributes, such as a partial collar error, attract higher premiums. One listing for a 1973 2-cent straight partial collar error, uncirculated, was priced at $65. So if you have the coin in very high grade or with a desirable error/variety, then the maximum value climbs considerably. Looking ahead to future upside, since the standard survival population is fairly large, the greatest value growth will come from the top tiers, extremely high grade, rare varieties/errors, and provenance. In a strong market for Australian numismatics, a pristine MS 67 plus might conceivably fetch well in hundreds of Australian dollars or more, especially if certified by a major grading service. If a truly exceptional specimen or rare error variety emerges, there might even be potential for thousands, although with no guarantee. Therefore, this coin is valuable, both now and as a future investment potential. By acquiring a good specimen, preserving it well, in a protective holder, controlled environment, avoiding wear and damage, you're positioning for upside as collector interest and market conditions evolve. The key is condition and scarcity within your grade. If I were to suggest a maximum scenario for a top-tier 1973 2-cent coin, imagine a certified MS 67 or above, full original mint red bronze luster, no defects, with a documented rare variety or error. In that scenario, depending on marketplace, demand, and auction dynamics, a sale in the range of several hundred to possibly $1,000+ Australian dollars is within the realm of possibility. Again, that's the ceiling under favorable conditions. On the flip side, for most everyday examples in circulated condition, don't expect that high return. But because the baseline value is already a multiple of face value, and because this coin is no longer circulating and is part of Australia's numismatic heritage, holding one is a smart move. To recap, the 1973 2-cent coin from Australia is historically significant, still collectible, with current market values ranging from modest amounts for circulated coins up to mid-tens of dollars for standard uncirculated pieces, and substantially higher for rare high-grade or error variants. With careful storage and time, the value can increase, and you are wise to consider it not just as a coin, but as a collectible asset. Next coin, the 1974 Australia 2-cent coin, is a fascinating and genuinely valuable piece for collectors. It carries strong historical significance, has clear current demand, and presents meaningful upside potential if you have a high-grade specimen or one with a rare error or variety. Let's dive deep into its story, current market situation, and why you should be motivated to hold or acquire one. The coin in question is the Australia 2-cent piece minted in 1974 under the reign of Queen Elizabeth II. On the obverse, it features her portrait, and on the reverse it bears the iconic frill-necked lizard, Chlamydosaurus kingii, designed by Stuart Devlin. This design was first introduced when Australia adopted decimal currency on February 14, 1966. The coin is made of bronze, roughly 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, and 0.5% tin, and has a diameter of about 21.59 millimeters. About the history of why and when it was built. Australia's transition to decimal currency required coins of small denominations, so everyday transactions could function smoothly. The 2-cent coin filled that role. It was a lower denomination piece issued to complement the 1-cent and 5-cent coins, among others. The 2-cent series continued through many years until its withdrawal from general circulation in February 1992. For the 1974 issue, the mintage figure is given by a specialist catalog as approximately 177,723,000 coins for circulation. That is a high mintage, meaning many of these coins were produced, and thus many still exist. Now, turning to the current market and how many people want to buy it. While I don't have a precise count of collectors actively bidding on the 1974 2-cent coin right now, we can infer demand by observing listings and specialist dealer commentary. The existence of error/variety listings, for example, a broad strike error example of the 1974 2-cent, indicates active interest among serious numismatists. Because the coin is part of a popular series for Australian decimal coin collectors, the buyer pool includes those completing a full set of 2-cent coins, those seeking uncirculated condition examples, and those hunting certified high-grade or error specimens. So yes, there is a healthy audience of buyers and collectors for this coin. How about the current value? According to a recent guide, the standard 1974 2-cent in very good circulated condition might be in the range of $3.40 to $4.20. In higher uncirculated grades, MS 60 to MS 63, the value rises to about $11.60 to $17.30. For MS 64-65, the guide shows around $24.20 to $45. That gives you a baseline of what one might reasonably expect now for typical examples. If you convert to USD roughly, depending on exchange, you'll see modest amounts for lower grades. Importantly though, remember this. The key to value growth lies in condition and rarity of the variant/error. For example, a listed broad strike error, choice uncirculated 1974 2-cent is listed at $99 on a specialist site. That shows that serious specimens with special characteristics fetch significantly more than the run-of-the-mill grade. So is its value really high or low? The answer, for typical circulated specimens, the value is modest, so in that sense low relative to some very rare coins. But that's exactly what makes the upside compelling. Because many coins exist, the value has room to grow for the top tiers, and because the series is collectible, it's far from worthless. It is definitely valuable, particularly when you hold a coin in excellent condition or with a desirable variety. The high potential exists, especially if you secure a specimen in top grade or certified by a grading service. What is the maximum price it can sell for at this time? While I cannot guarantee a number, given the known data and market behavior, one could reasonably say a pristine, certified MS 67 or even MS 68 if such exists, entirely original, full luster, perfect centering, and perhaps with a documented error/variety, could command multiple hundreds of AUD, say $300 Australian dollars, $500 Australian dollars, or more, possibly even higher depending on rarity, provenance, and market dynamics. If you convert, you're looking at several hundred USD in that scenario. The 99 Australian dollars listing for an error uncirculated shows the floor of premium examples. One can imagine the ceiling being considerably higher if condition and rarity align. Looking ahead, the value can increase further. Collector interest tends to grow over time for well-preserved metal coins from historic periods. Since the 2-cent coin series is now defunct in everyday use, any surviving pieces in top condition become increasingly scarce. Moreover, the 2-cent piece from 1974 bridges the era of the Queen's portrait and the withdrawal of the lower denominations, giving it historical context. If market demand increases, coins in top condition could fetch significantly more than current catalogs indicate. What motivates collectors? The idea of owning a coin that ties into Australia's decimal currency history, combined with the possibility that you might hold a condition rarity that few others possess, is compelling. Imagine pulling out a coin in a protective holder, perfectly lustrous, with a known error, and putting it in front of a buyer saying, "This is one of the finest 1974 2-cent coins still available." That story adds value. You aren't just holding a piece of metal. You're holding a tangible link to Australian monetary history. For someone in Pakistan or anywhere else in the world, this coin offers a relatively accessible entry into Australian numismatics. Most examples are still affordable, so you can aim for a good specimen without spending exorbitant sums. At the same time, you have a clear path to value growth when you improve condition or chase a variety. That dual potential, affordability plus upside, is what makes it appealing. In terms of how many people want to buy it, while exact numbers are not publicly listed, the fact that specialist dealers list it, error variance trade, and collectors talk about it suggests a stable demand. Some may be accumulating full 2-cent series. Some may target the 1974 issue specifically for completion, and others might be hunting error examples. So your potential buyer base includes general decimal coin collectors, Australian coin specialists, and error variety enthusiasts. In summary, the 1974 Australia 2-cent coin is valuable, both now and in the future. Right now, standard circulated specimens have modest value, a few AUD. Uncirculated ones have higher value, tens of AUD, and error/graded top examples show significantly more, hundreds of AUD. With careful acquisition, good condition, certified if possible, protective storage, you position yourself to benefit from future market movement. If I were advising you, aim to acquire the best condition example you can afford, keep it in top shape, document it, perhaps grade it if it's fine, and hold it for the long term. Over time, the condition premium will likely rise, and you might find yourself holding one of the more desirable examples in the world. That's what makes this coin not just collectible, but a potential investment in historical metal. Next, the coin we're talking about is the Australia 2-cent 1978, a bronze piece issued in Australia under the reign of Queen Elizabeth II. It follows the long-running decimal 2-cent series, 1966 to 1984, that featured the frill-necked lizard Chlamydosaurus kingii, designed by Stuart Devlin, on the reverse. History and why it was built. In 1966, Australia moved to decimal currency on February 14th, and the 2-cent coin was one of the denominations introduced to fill everyday transaction needs in the new system. The 1978 issue falls toward the later years of the decimal 2-cent era. The coin is bronze, about 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, 0.5% tin, and has the standard features for that series. On the obverse, Queen Elizabeth II. On the reverse, the lizard designed by Stuart Devlin. The 2-cent was eventually withdrawn from general circulation in February 1992 because inflation had eroded the purchasing power and the cost of producing the coin was no longer justified for everyday use. Specifically for 1978, the mintage figure for this year, for the 2-cent, is listed at approximately 128,700,000 pieces. Because of the fairly large mintage, many of these coins are distributed, but that doesn't mean they're not collectible or valuable. The key is condition and any special variety. Current market value and where you can buy or sell. If you're looking to buy one or to sell one, here are the places. You could look on major online auction/coin sale platforms. For example, listings on eBay show circulated and uncirculated examples of the 1978 2-cent coin. Specialist coin dealers and numismatic websites also list error/variety versions. For instance, a 15% indent error for 1978, which considerably increase value. To sell yours, you can use the same platforms: an online auction listing, coin dealer consignment, or a numismatic fair. If you have the coin graded by a professional grading service, such as PCGS and GC, you may attract higher value. What is the current value? According to the price guide at coinsinaustralia.com for the 1978 2-cent coin, standard uncirculated GM grades, MS66RD, are listed around $46 or equivalent for a top grade ordinary specimen. Error/variety examples, like a 15% indent obverse error for 1978, are listed much higher. One example listed at $695. On typical online auctions listings, circulated examples may sell for only a few dollars or tens of dollars. Is its value really high or low? It's accurate to say that for a common circulated 1978 2-cent, the value is modest compared to rare coins, so in that sense relatively low compared to ultra-rare issues. However, calling it low in absolute terms would be misleading for collectors. Because there are limited examples in top grades and special varieties, the value can rise substantially. Your coin is valuable, especially if it is uncirculated, well struck, with no wear, or is an error/variety. So, if you have a plain circulated one, its value is modest, a few dollars to low tens. If you have an uncirculated GM condition example, or one with an error, its value is significantly higher, possibly hundreds of dollars. That means its upside is quite strong for the right specimen. Should you keep it? Should be sealed or graded? Yes, I recommend you keep it. When you hold a coin like this from 1978 in great condition, with good eye appeal and minimal wear, you're holding a piece of Australia's decimal coinage history. If it's in very good shape, it's strongly advisable to preserve it. Keep it in a protective holder, acid-free coin flip, coin capsule. Avoid handling with bare fingers. Store in a stable humidity and temperature environment. Better yet, if the coin is in outstanding condition and you believe it might be MS66 or higher, you should consider having it professionally graded and encapsulated by a recognized grading authority. A sealed, graded coin gives confidence to buyers and tends to fetch higher price because the grade and authenticity are independently verified. If you have an error/variety, grading is even more important to maximize its value. What is the maximum value it can be? In the best cases, imagine your 1978 2-cent coin is in MS67 plus condition, perfectly centered, full original luster, no detracting marks, and maybe even exhibits a known error/variety, such as the 15% indent error or broad strike. Such a coin could command a price well above typical guides. While there's no publicly recorded auction result of thousands for this exact year coin to my knowledge, the listing of $695 for a quality error variety suggests that under optimal circumstances, you could see several $100 realized, USD, or more. Given collector interest, condition rarity, and error/variety status, reaching over $500 to $1,000 USD or equivalent is plausible for the right specimen. Motivating you. Picture this. You hold in your hand a 1978 Australia 2-cent coin. Many of these circulated, but how many survived in flawless mint state? Very few. How many survived with an error that catches the eye of serious collectors? Even fewer. That means you're not just holding another coin. You have a chance to hold something special. If you protect it, either keep it sealed or get it graded, you set yourself up to be part of a small group of owners who can command a premium for such pieces. Over time, as fewer top-grade examples are available and more collectors chase the series, your coin's value can climb. You don't want to be the one who sold it too early or let it degrade by mishandling. If you believe your coin is in very good condition, no wear, intact rim, strong detail, great luster, consider preserving and possibly grading it. Even if it ends up in just very good uncirculated condition, you'll be ahead of average circulated examples. In summary, the 1978 Australia 2-cent coin is a valuable collectible. Its standard value in circulated condition is modest, but its maximum potential, especially for uncirculated or error/variety examples, is strong. You can buy and sell it via online auction sites, coin dealers, and numismatic platforms. If you hold it, protect it, and consider grading it, you position yourself to extract maximum value. The history of the coin links directly to Australia's decimal currency transition and withdrawal of the coin in 1992, which adds to its narrative and appeal for collectors. If you'd like, I can check recent realized auction sale result for the 1978 2-cent coin, say last 6 to 12 months, to see what people are actually paying today. That will give you a more concrete range for what your coin might fetch. Would you like me to pull those?